and to Facebook. Hello, Lauren here from Raw Raw Consulting, and ready for it? The Raw Raw Spirit Team. Woo! Well, welcome to it's pretty much a long overdue episode. Let's actually talk about that for a second. I feel as though I actually haven't been here for a while, haven't been talking to you for a while, although I have been super busy. So, whether or not you've noticed, I don't know, but I'm really happy to be back. I'm just double checking one thing on Instagram, which is why I look like I'm a little bit distracted for a second, because I had this weird feeling like I'm in the wrong channel recording. And this is not the first time that that has actually happened. The first time that I did a Facebook Live, I was actually in the wrong channel accidentally. And yeah, it was super awkward. But you know what I did? I learned from that experience. I learned to double check if I'm ever confused about where I'm at. And so it looks like I am good to go. Everything is as it should be. So basically, I wanted to jump on here today and I wanted to just, kind of have a chat with you to see how you're doing. I hope that business is going well. I hope that your life is going well. I hope that, with all of the changes happening in the world, that, you're finding joy in your life, that you are carving out times to, take care of yourself and give yourself some self-care and some love, because that's what it's all about. It's all about us enjoying our time. And that really kind of segues into the conversation that I really wanted to talk to you about today, which is that, are you ready? I feel like I need a drum roll, but all I have are pom-poms. Okay, let's do a pom-pom roll. Actually, sorry, before I get to that, I do want to tell you one thing. I am using a new headphones, and I would love to hear your feedback as to whether or not you've noticed any of the quality being different in as opposed to just using my normal iPhone headphones. So I'm not obviously affiliated with Sony at all, but I got these new Sony headphones. They're like these ear pods, and one of the reasons why I got them is because I was a little bit tired of having this white cable. I felt interfering with the message that I was trying to deliver at the time. And so I thought I would invest in something that was a little bit different and a little bit more discreet. So just to give you some context, I do have the AirCon on at the moment, and I am talking to you just using these Sony headphones. I'm using the StreamYard platform on Facebook and on YouTube. And on Instagram, I'm actually just listening or just speaking to you from my iPad. So yeah, would love to hear what you think. Instagram, you're pretty much getting the same sort of quality every time, because my iPhones have never been, my headphones have never been connected to my iPad. I have always just talked like this to you, but for my friends over on YouTube and on Facebook, you might notice a difference in sound, and I would like to hear whether or not you noticed it and whether or not you like it or you don't like it, because I'm not really sure yet. I'll have to listen to the replay. Okay, so that brings me back to the subject at hand here, which really does deserve a drum roll or a pom-pom roll. So I was listening to Donald Miller's Story Brand podcast this morning, and he was interviewing a guest by the name of Bob Goff. Now, this is the first I've heard of him. And Bob Goff wrote a book called Dream Big. Anyway, in the conversation, Bob actually said that the average person with an average life lives 27,350 days. And when I listened to that, I kind of went, what? And I listened to it a couple of times to make sure I wrote the number down properly. But, when he said the average person, average life, 27,350 days of life, I guess I started to think a little bit more about my mortality and about what I'm doing with my time. So one of the things that I always like to recommend, and I always talk about on these podcasts or on these conversations and on my podcast, the Raw Raw podcast, is that, we want to be loving our life. We want to be living a life that we feel proud of, that we wake up every day and we go, I'm so happy to be doing this. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to have trials and tribulations. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have challenges that get in the way and that might, leave us feeling numb or sad. But it's kind of understanding that, our life here is finite, and that, if we aren't taking an opportunity to live the life that we want to live, if we aren't, taking the opportunity to shine brightly right now, that we're missing an opportunity. And days of our lives, as they go on and on and on, are slowly falling away. So if you kind of imagine that you've got this calendar or like a clock kind of, display at your house, and it starts off with 27,350. And as every day goes by, the clock just runs out. I do kind of wonder whether or not you would live your life the same way. I can't help but wonder, would you spend time with the people you spend time with? Would you stay in a job that you're in? Would you, continue to let fear stop you from backing your big idea and from trying out new things? Would you continue to play small or not wear that outfit that you want to wear? Or not cut off all your hair just to see what it looks like, or dye it a different color? I'm just kind of talking about a whole bunch of random things. Would you not travel to that place? Would you not, try out something that you've always been wanting to do, like a new hobby or something? If you had that constant visual reminder every day that your life is running out, would you act different? Would you live differently? I just want to leave you with that for a second, because, this might sound like a crazy thought, but sometimes when I miswrite the date, sometimes I might write, instead of 2020, I might write 2,200 or something like that. And I'm reminded for that one fleeting instant, that 1 second, that, I'm not going to be alive at 2,200. And so what do I want my life to look like? And this isn't meant to be a conversation around, feeling sad that, our days are limited. This is meant to be a conversation about feeling empowered that we have time right now. And that at any passing moment, we can turn it all around. We can try something new. We can move to that place. We can quit our job. We can try that new hobby. We can back that big idea, whatever that big idea is. So I'd like you to consider, what is stopping you? What's getting in your way? Is it fear? And a lot of people say that fear, like false experiences appearing real, or false ego, something else along those lines. But, what is getting in your way? What is stopping you from shining brightly, I suppose? So sometimes when you get clear on what your hurdle is, what you're afraid of, what your fear is, what's stopping you from advancing in whatever way, then you can start to make plans and take measures to essentially combat that fear, to work through that fear. Because on the other side of fear, on the other side of that door is, yes, it's a land of unknown. I hear you say, maybe scared. It's a land of unknown, yes, but it's a land of opportunity as well. So I know that sometimes people are afraid of, let's say, finances, okay? That they are afraid that if they back their big idea, they're going to run out of money. Well, I have a friend, and one of the things that she does is she's got a hidden little compartment in her house where she keeps $400 cash. She's got that in there. And so she knows that without a doubt, even when she's, having moments where she's concerned about scarcity, or maybe the money's not coming in the way that, it does on other days, because she's a business owner as well, that she knows that she's actually rich and taken care of because she has that $400 of cash that's sitting there. And so she knows she's never actually without. And so I thought that that was actually a really cool way of sort of overcoming some of those fears that might have to do with an abundance mindset or scarcity, or, being afraid of running out of money, let's say. Now, another thing that you could do is when you get clear on, what you want to do and maybe what's standing in your way, like your fear, why don't you think about what's the worst thing that could happen? And then what would you do if that thing happened? Right? So sometimes when we actually take the time to look fear in the face and go, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And the worst thing that could happen is XYZ. Well, build a contingency plan to be able to deal with that. So if you are concerned about running out of finances, I talked to a guy a little while ago, actually. Let me tell you this story. So I was at a bookstore and I was shopping, and I'm in the bookstore, and I just said to him, I could never work here because I would buy everything because I love books. I love reading. I love learning, right? And he said, yeah, it's pretty hard. And then he goes, well, the dream it would always be to have my own business, my own bookstore. And I just said, well, what's stopping you, right? And he kind of looked a bit taken aback for a moment because maybe he had never really thought about it in that way. And he goes, well, I guess I'm just comfortable. Okay. I said, well, if you're just comfortable, but this is like your dream to have your own bookstore, what's the worst thing that could happen? And he wasn't really sure. And I was cognizant of the fact that there were customers behind me who wanted me to stop talking with this guy and like move on, stop talking about building your big dream, right? So I said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And he didn't really know. So I just quickly filled in the gap for him. I said, the worst thing that could happen is you lose all your money. That's probably the worst thing that could happen. And so he looked a bit like, oh, well, that would be, pretty tough. And I said, yeah, but if you put away put aside like a safety net that you never touch, let's say 10 grand. So you've covered yourself for rent for, 6 months and food and stuff like that while you found your footing again. Then if you have that contingency plan in place, there's no real reason why you can't move forward. So I guess what I want to do is I just want to encourage you to have a think about the fact that time is running out and to enjoy every moment and to remember that right now is your position of power, this present moment. And so you can change your whole life at any time. You don't need to live the life you're living if you aren't happy, if you're not finding flow, if you're not joyous, if you're not, excited. And yes, we all have difficult days. I have difficult days as well. I have days where I feel tired and I'm like, I just need a break. So I take one. Or where I'm, working at jobs, like right now I'm working a couple of days a week in a restaurant. Maybe it's not my final dream. No, of course not. My final dream is to help you, is to build up your business and your life and mine as well, and to do that. But I'm finding joy in those opportunities. I'm socializing. I'm getting active. I get a great meal. You know what I mean? I'm really enjoying and finding the silver lining in my journey to growing my business and to growing my dream and not letting that fear kind of get me stuck and keep me small. So have a think about what you want. I really truly believe that we do not consider, dreams or think of things that we want to do if we weren't actually able to execute them. Okay. So think about what you want. Think about what's stopping you, what's getting in your way. Write it down if that's going to be helpful, or talk it out if that's going to be helpful. And then come up with a contingency plan. What would your plan be if the worst case scenario happened? Come up with a plan to deal with it and then back yourself. Now, I know that, sometimes when you're thinking about backing yourself, you might not know how to get started. And so one thing that I do want to let you know is that at Raw Raw Consulting and through the Raw Raw Spirit team, here we go there again. Oh, yeah. I help small to medium-sized business owners find answers to their business questions all in one easy place without wasting time. And so if you are interested in backing your big idea and you don't know how to get started, why not put someone like me on your team? Why not get involved in the Raw Raw Spirit Team community and just check it out? We have consistent training. We've got guest speakers, guest instructors that are in the program or in the membership every, 2 times a month. they're teaching on different things. This last month in November, we had amazing guests. Actually, we have one coming up still. So at the end of October, we had May Sanda from Untangled. She was in there. She's a Pinterest expert. She was talking all about, strategies to, maximize the impact of your business and generate traffic to your blog, to your sales page, to your website, to your podcast, how to do that. She went through a whole hour of training. We had the fabulous Elisa James, who talked about how to speak with confidence. She talked about, essentially how when you are speaking with authentic confidence, you're actually having, the adverse effect. If you're not speaking your truth and you're not sounding like you know what you're talking about and you're speaking with confidence and you're articulating things properly, that could actually be affecting your ability to be seen as the authority, to be given a raise, to be respected even. And so she talked about, that and how to grow in confidence using your voice. So one thing she even mentioned, which I just realized now because I'm kind of freestyling this whole bit, is that, taking breaths is super key. Because sometimes what I do is I'll talk a lot and I don't take a breath. And so that's one thing that I did learn. And so I am working on that. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've taken a few sips of my beautiful coffee here in my raw cup. And, just with the whole aspect of really just wanting you to think about what I'm saying and also give myself, I guess, time to plot out or think of the next sentence. So those are just some examples of the programming that we do have in the Spirit team. Now, if you're still wondering, well, who's it for? Right now, it is, well, not right now, it is always for small to medium-sized business owners who want a one-stop shop for information, coaching, and support and community. Now, that means you get me on your team, right? So if you listen to my content and you like what I'm talking about, and you can see that I know what I'm talking about, why wouldn't you want me in your corner? So that's what you get. You get me in your corner backing you. If you feel like you're doing everything in your business, but your business isn't advancing, maybe there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things that you could be doing that could speed up your business, and I can help you find that. If you're feeling like you're working too much and you're overextended, we've got training on time management, on how to deal with being overwhelmed, on how to deal with laser focus and taking action. If you are struggling with anxiety and guilt, a lot of people are struggling with anxiety and guilt because they feel that they need to be something for everybody and they always need to be on and they need to be doing everything right now, which I don't believe is true. You can't do everything right now. You can just do the best you can working on the most important thing at this moment. So if you're confused about how to prioritize where you should be spending your time as well, then the Spirit team will help you do that. And also, as I said before, it's a supportive community. I mean, we have masterminds where you can actually jam for an entire hour with other like-minded business owners once a month to talk about your monthly goals and to set your intentions and your goals for the following month. And then I help keep you accountable. So I would love for you to check it out. Join me over at Raw Consulting. Check the link in the bio or rawconsulting.com, rawspiritteam.com. Check it all out. It's 14 days for free. You literally have nothing to lose. If you sign on and you go, nah, not for me, then you don't have to stay in. I'm not about making people stay in if it's not working. All right, so that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you are doing well. And, as always, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you live your life by realizing that every day is precious and we need to treasure every moment? Are you wanting to back your big idea, but you don't know how? Let me know. Send me a DM, send me a comment. I'm here to help you get started on your journey. All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your time. See you later, Instagram and